I am your host, FatDag, and you're listening to Wise Advice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at fatdag.com and follow along on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at Wise Advice. Send in your comments, your questions, your celebrations. I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're out of points, stop eating points. Hey, I'm honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey because I believe in you. Well, hello, welcome to episode 77 of Wise Advice. And we got a kind of interesting show tonight. We're hanging out on Facebook Live initially, just kind of catching up with everybody, saying hello. And as I always open the show with, I say when you're out of points, stop eating points. And I want to take a second again to continue to explain that because I see it all the time on Connect. Someone says, when you're out of points, stop eating. The key word is when you're out of points, stop eating points. There are still 0-point foods that you can enjoy and you should enjoy. And that's what's going to teach you to be more accountable to the program. And that's what's going to keep you on track. So when you're out of points, stop eating points, but switch to 0-point foods. So out of the gate, Paula writes in and says, "Hi, Mike. I'm a faithful listener writing to ask what BLUF means in your show episodes. It seems it may be things discussed in that episode, but I'm unfamiliar with the term. Maybe you've described it before. I've listened to all the podcasts and didn't catch the term. Thanks so much, Paula from Hershey, Pennsylvania." And then she throws on the bottom, "Oh, and by the way, we never counted Hershey's Kisses when we ate them." Yeah, so that could be a problem, right? If we live in Hershey, PA, I imagine they're probably everywhere. So you do have to count them. The reason you got to count them is because they clearly have points. And we know the difference between maintaining your weight and losing your weight is about 6 points a day. So that's probably only 2 or 3 or maybe 4 Hershey's Kisses, snuck in throughout the course of the day will put you in a maintenance mode. And then you think you're doing really well with the tracking, but reality is you're overeating, getting too many calories, too much sugar, and then more importantly, never breaking the addiction to stop eating them. So if you live in Hershey, Pennsylvania, regardless, you still have to track them as you eat them. Now, the term BLUF, capital B, capital L, U, and F, it's a military term. It stands for bottom line up front. So whenever we prepare a briefing, 2 or 3 page briefing, whoever we give it to, they're going to want like a paragraph at the beginning or a sentence at the beginning so they kind of know what the entire paper is about. So I kind of put that in my show episode, being a military guy. Some days I think about taking it out because I do know that a lot of us don't understand what it means. But in essence, what it is I have a show title, a show subject, and then I put BLUF is to kind of just give you a quick little synopsis of what that episode will be. But sometimes I don't take enough time to fully describe it. But that's what BLUF stands for. You'll see it in there on occasion. So thanks for asking that. BethAnn writes in and says, "Well, Mike, how do you deal with it when due to work obligations, you miss your meeting? We have Weight Watchers at work, but the meeting times are often conflicting with the conference calls I have to be attending. If we don't sign in regularly enough, we will lose our meetings at work. But I am frustrated. Starting weight 220, goal weight 146, current weight 196 pounds. So, BethAnn, you're down 24 pounds. What you're doing is working. So that's phenomenal work. Now here we go. You have to make this a priority. If you're looking to get this weight loss journey done, if you're trying to cross that finish line of losing weight and standing on the scale in a non-weight loss mode, you have to focus. Part of this focus is making this journey for you a priority. Now, if you're at work and you have a set meeting time, put it in your calendar and then don't accept any other obligations that are conflicting with that. Easier said than done, I get it, but let's talk to our supervisors, let's talk to whoever we work with and say, listen, hey, on Tuesdays from 9 to 4, 9 to 2, 9 to 1, 9 to 9:30, I have a meeting that I can't miss. So schedule everything else. So when something comes in your calendar, you decline it and say, no, I have already a meeting. What we do for a lot of times is we put off things that we think we can move around. And you'll find that the world becomes very flexible with you if you stick to your schedule. If you had an important meeting that day already scheduled, and someone else tried to throw another meeting on top of it, you'd simply say, no, wait a minute, I'm meeting with such and such on this time. I can't do, how about we do it later? It's the same thing. If you put Weight Watchers in your calendar first and then adjust everything around it. Now, if that is not possible, depending on where you work and what you do, maybe that isn't possible. If that's not possible, then the same rule applies. You have to make this a priority. You have to remember that what you're doing for you. And if you are doing it for you and you make it a priority, then you will find a time to make this work. And maybe the meetings at work is not going to work for you. Maybe you're going to need to be one of those people that goes to a meeting after work or goes before work or whatever, or goes on the Saturday morning. But if you set that in your calendar as the priority and you find a time in your time slot that works, you'll get it done. Again, clearly you're down 24 pounds. Whatever you're doing is working. So continue working that and get it done. Thanks for your email for sure. Terrie writes in and says, I just want to take a moment and say thank you. I felt my spirit waning in 2 years of Weight Watchers. You see, I've lost over 40 pounds. Yes, a celebration for sure. And although I'm not at all ungrateful and happy for the rewards of my hard work, it seemed that the elusive lifetime status just isn't meant to be for me. And I'd lost hope of achieving it, and it just seems to lose and gain the same 5 pounds over and over again. But now that I've found your podcast, I have a daily dose of inspiration and a constant reminder to keep my why close by. So I just wanted to say thank you and keep cheering for me. I won't give up until I cross that finish line. Thanks for keeping me focused. Yours in sisterhood, Terrie from California. Well, Terrie, first and out of the foremost, right? It says you've seen that the elusive lifetime status just wasn't meant to be for you. That's wrong. Lifetime out there is for everybody. We all have the ability to get there. You know, when we work the plan, when we hit our 5%, when we hit our 10%, that's proof that we can get this done. You've lost 40 pounds. If you've lost 40 pounds, you can get to goal in lifetime with focus and discipline and dedication. You can get there. So first thing we have to do is we have to take that, this isn't for me, my mindset out and toss away. You're headed to a place you've never been before. I understand that. Now, you talk about complacency. You talk about hitting episode 72 talks a little bit about complacency. And so you have to have a daily dose of inspiration and a constant reminder to keep your why close by. That's exactly why 72 exists. It's to remind you of what that complacency trap looks like so you recognize it. If you continue to lose the same 5 pounds over and over again, at some point, and you're doing that after you lost 40 pounds, then it simply means that after you lost 40 pounds, you started feeling really good about yourself. You started looking better, feeling better, and slowly you started tracking less. You started working out less. You started eating just a little bit more portions. You started something you are doing differently than you did to lose the 40 pounds. I want you to look at that. I want you to reassess it, figure out how you lost those 40 pounds, repeat the actions you used to lose those 40 pounds, and you can get it. Now, the coolest part you said is that you won't give up until you cross the finish line. That makes me happy. There's absolutely nothing like crossing the finish line. When you cross the finish line of your weight loss journey and you start your new journey of living lifetime, living happy, healthy in a non-weight loss mode, there's nothing like it. Now, what happens is many of us don't ever know what that feeling feels like. Let me put it in perspective for you for a little bit. Imagine if you've watched any sort of race in, Indy 500, let's just say. You watch the Indy 500 and a driver goes and he crosses the finish line and he wins the race of the Indy 500 for the very first time in his life. And do you ever see that just raw emotion? It's emotion that they can't describe because they have never done that before in their entire life. So they just can't control the emotion. That's very similar to hopping on the scale in the very last time in a weight loss mode. Is we currently don't know what that feeling feels like. So therefore, it's easy to give up ahead of time. But I assure you, when you cross that finish line, you're going to enjoy it. So go out and get it. Now, congratulations on losing 40 pounds. You absolutely need to celebrate that. That's phenomenal work, and so you can get it done. The whole reason we start this journey is to cross the finish line. So we cross the finish line and then we instantly start over in a whole new journey of lifetime. Very few of us get to live that lifestyle. You are one of them that has the ability to get it done because every single person listening has the ability to get that done. Go after it. Go get it. Brandy writes in and says, thanks for the advice on the fit points. Your reply on Connect was truthfully what I needed to hear. Specifically when you mentioned habits and addictions, 2 words that I need to conquer on this journey. Like many of us here on Weight Watchers, I am also a frequent flyer. I've added up so many miles over the years, I should get an award for my effort. I've literally counted 7 times in the last 3 years that I've signed up and failed. My why has become something I can't seem to find, let alone grab onto. As the story goes, I will get there, I just don't know when. Brandy, let's believe here, right? Let's go, I believe that you will get there. You believe you will get there. Let's throw out the timeline. Even though I appreciate you saying you just don't know when, let's completely remove that from our vocabulary. Let's just simply say, I will get there. Let's know that we end it there. I will get there, period. We can admit, now you have to admit that you have unhealthy habits and maybe you have some unhealthy addictions. When we can admit those, when we can say that, hey, this journey that I'm on, it's unique in a sense where I've had some bad habits in my life. I have some food addictions, and that's how I came to terms with it. As I finally said, when I look at food and say it's a food addiction, it makes it easier for me to want to win because I want to have control over this journey. And so it's easier to get control if you understand what the problem is. And for most of us, it's either bad habits or it's food addictions or some sort of combination of the both. So you've absolutely recognized that. I'm glad that I was able to reply to you on Connect so we can start this dialogue and get it going. But let's get focused on your why. You said you've missed it a couple times and you don't know why. So why did you join? When you walked into the Weight Watcher room for the very first time, what made you do that? Dig deep into that thought process because it never goes away. And that's why you come back in 7 times. Because every time you left, something drove you back. It was likely the exact same reason all 7 times that drove you in there. You really have to sit and focus on what that is because it's never going to go away. Now, I'm proud of you for this time because now you are not going to quit. You are going to get there. And when you do get there, because you said you will get there, when you do get there, it's going to feel so amazing. And you're going to believe it. You're going to love it. And I want to hear when you do. So, Brandy, keep up the great work. An honor to reach out to you. Nina out of Newcastle, Indiana writes in and says, hi, Mike. I'm back to my Lifetime goal, and it feels real good. I made Lifetime in 1997, and I was there for just a very short time. After several unsuccessful attempts throughout the years, I came back to Weight Watchers last year on June 2nd. Today, I weighed in at 0.2 under goal, having lost 60.8 pounds in a year and 10 days. Now, my next journey begins. It's kind of scary to think about it, but with all the support I pull from Connect, my local meeting, and you, I hope to be successful on this journey too. Nina, don't hope, right? We talk about this all the time. Hope is nothing more than your desire. So hope is not a plan. So you have all the right tools. You've clearly made it this far. You've made Lifetime before, so you know you've gotten there. Obviously, you're back. The congratulations on getting back. Now, my suspicion is the first time you got there by suppressing some bad habits versus making the lifestyle adjustment necessary to maintain it. So now what I want you to do is I want you to focus on when you're going to have to pay very close attention to your journey at this point. If you start looking at the foods that you're eating now, start to become different than what you did to get to goal, then you have to be careful of not slipping back into or away from Lifetime, which is what you did back in 97, because if you were there for just a very short time, more than likely, as soon as you hit goal, we celebrated and we brought in all those bad habits, we brought those addictions back in, and that's when we kind of let it slip away. This time, when you're at Lifetime, now that you're there, I want you to focus. I want you to look at everything you're doing, compare it to what you were doing on your journey. If they're different, we have to adjust. You have the ability to do it. You have the ability to maintain this journey. Congratulations on hitting goal. When you said it feels really good, I want you to write that down. I want you to write down how good it feels. Keep a journal at this point of things that you're doing now that you've never been able to do. That'll keep you there for a long time. Thank you for your email. Marty writes in, says, hello, Dag. I just wanted to thank you again for all you're doing to help others, and I just wanted to share some success I had last week. I broke through a plateau. I'm the lightest I've been since high school. That's 37 years ago. I'm only 11 pounds away from my first goal weight. I'm only 1.9 pounds away from a lower decade. I'm only 16 pounds from my high school weight. I worked out 7 times last week, including some new upper and lower body weight machines and exercises. I went to a fun baseball game and other social events. I am feeling great. Thank you for your encouragement and your inspiration. I'm starting to see myself in a much more positive light. Take care. Sincerely, Marty. Marty, this is the key. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Your whole email resonates with a feeling of how good you feel at a goal weight. And so I can see the excitement as you write. Like I can actually see the words popping off the paper as I look at it of how happy you are because you are a completely new person. You're doing things you have not done in 37 years. I get that. You're at the lowest weight you've ever been, and you're 16 pounds from a high school weight. When you get there, it's going to feel even better than you feel now. I know it's going to be kind of hard to believe, but that feeling that you can feel it, the fact that you're tapped into it, the fact that you're tuned in and you know all those good things, you can feel the difference, that's what you're after. That's what we're all after, is those feelings of things that we truly didn't even know existed, but when they show up, we just continue to celebrate them. So thank you for your email. Folks, what is it you're celebrating? One of the things I'm going to celebrate real quick is for the month of June, absolute blows my mind, a record 148,582 downloads of the podcast for the month of June alone. It brings us over to 292,000 downloads since the podcast started. Man, we are really, really making a difference. And your email, sending in your encouragement, when you tag me on Connect, when you share it on Connect, all of that reaches a community. And if you could see my inbox, I would love to share it with you for some of the emails that I haven't even gotten to yet that are coming up that are just simply amazing. And people say, the podcast gets me there. And the only thing I do is I disagree and I say the podcast is just a tool. You're doing all the work. If I have the most amazing bandsaw in my garage, it's not going to build me a house. If I have the most amazing tool set in my garage, it's not going to do anything for me unless I know how to use them and I take the step to use them. So keep up the great work, all of you. Thank you for continuing sharing. Thank you for getting this done. But that's going to do it for this time. Remember that losing weight and getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused, set your sights on your goal, and go after it. I wish you good focus.